Anastasia from Chiron Divine Readings and Full Moon Blessings. So I'm going to just go ahead and get set up. Give some time out for people to log on and join for this reading. It's definitely been a while since I've done a live. I think like earlier in the spring I had the intention of doing full moon lives once a month, and then life happened and I didn't get to do that. I think definitely not last month, and possibly for the month of April. I don't remember. It's all sort of blending for me at this point. But nonetheless, I'm happy to be back. I am excited to do this reading for all of you watching. And yeah, so here we are. So I'm just getting some of my cards set up while I wait for some more folks to join. One quick thing that I will mention. So yesterday I posted that I'm doing something new that I'm calling the Full Moon Reiki Release. And this is something that I was sort of doing on my own, and you know, felt like maybe this is something that I could also share with the collective. Although I will say I wasn't necessarily doing it during the full moon, but you know, recognizing that the full moon is pretty powerful, and so why not use that as an opportunity to release some things, you know? I figured let's do that. And then inviting all of you to also participate. And so if you are interested, please check out the link in my bio for more information, or you can check out the post that I put up yesterday. It's a really short, like 30-second video that sort of explains what Reiki is and how to connect with the energies of the full moon, and just sort of how I'm bringing all of that together. But I'm really excited because, again, this is something new that I'm trying with all of you. And just to sort of give you an idea of how it would go. So anyone who submits a request, what I will do is print out the request and do some Reiki healing on that request, and focusing specifically on that person. And depending on the type of situation it is, that will determine which Reiki symbols I will use to initiate and conduct the healing. And then once that's done, once I feel that the situation has been healed, I will burn the piece of paper, and sort of using that as the releasing, right? You know, again, this is something that I've done, particularly with like the burning during the full moon. That's something that I've done for myself. But it's sort of like I'm combining two things that I was sort of doing separately and bringing them together. So, you know, I was doing like the full moon, releasing and, you know, burning of things that I wanted to release. And then now that I'm sort of diving more into my Reiki practice, I am including that as part of the releasing. So should be fun, should be interesting. And again, if you're interested in that, please feel free to check out the link in my bio. Okay? All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into today's reading. Hello, welcome. Just getting started here. So for this full moon, which it's starting because the moon is in Sagittarius. So it's a full moon in Sagittarius. It's a super moon, which means that it's really close to the earth. So if you look up in the sky and it looks really, really bright, it's because the moon is closer than normal, right? And it's also a strawberry moon, which is great for manifesting abundance, love. With it being in the sign of Sagittarius, you know, Sag is being the ultimate optimist, myself included, you know, a great time for ushering in some positive energy, some uplifting energy, bringing in that energy of like honesty, because we are known for being bluntly honest, and you know, just really tapping into that energy for this current full moon. So definitely something to keep in mind. Hello, welcome. And yeah, so very powerful moon. Definitely check it out outside whenever you get a chance. It should be interesting to look at. And let's go ahead and jump into today's reading. So I have my Moonology deck over here, and we'll just get a sense for, you know, what is the overall energy that Spirit wants us to keep in mind during this full moon. All right, one more time. Good to see you. All right. Oh, this card wanted to jump out. You are good enough. All right, so if you've ever had any doubts, if you're feeling like you don't have enough or that you're not doing enough, Spirit wants you to know you are enough. You know, I'm getting that maybe there were some self-confidence issues, or maybe some concerns about like how much you're contributing or what you're contributing, and just understanding that what you're doing is enough. And so you don't necessarily have to overdo it. And if, you know, sort of feeling like this is something that like people pleasers often experience. It's like, you know, oh, I have to make sure that this is happening and that's happening. And Spirit is like, look, you are enough, you're doing enough, don't worry so much, okay? All right, anything else want to jump up? Let's see. This one. Oh, this one. What do you need to release? All right, so definitely something that we will be asking during this reading, but it seems like there is definitely some energy that needs to be released, and so perfect timing for that, right? And also perfect timing if you want to utilize my full moon Reiki release option. All right, the last card is it's time to release negativity. All right, so you are enough. What do you need to release? It's time to release negative energy. What I'm getting is like any negative thoughts you may have about yourself, any doubt that you have regarding your capabilities, like that needs to be released during this full moon. And you know, this is definitely the perfect opportunity for that, you know, given that it is a full moon in Sagittarius. So using this as an opportunity to release whatever feelings you may have about yourself and your worth, and seeing that you are enough, you have enough, you bring enough to the table, and so you don't necessarily have to go above and beyond to prove your worth. And that's what I'm getting from these cards so far. All right, so let's see what else. One more. All right, and going back to what I was sharing before about the full moon Reiki release, like, you know, this is definitely a great opportunity. One of the things that I mentioned in my post yesterday is that Reiki does transcend time and space. And so if it's a negative belief from your past that's sort of been lingering around, or if it's around a childhood trauma, that's something that can be done through Reiki. So definitely something for you to keep in mind, right? All right, one more. Okay, so the strength card. All right, so you have a lot of strength. If you didn't know that, here's the confirmation. You have a lot of strength. You are a very strong individual. The situation, 8 of Pentacles. You've been doing a lot of work, a lot more work than you probably needed to do, like burning the midnight oil is what I just heard. So, and that's, you know, going back to what I was saying before about being enough. You know, you've been doing a lot of work. Opportunity, put it down. Just stop what you're doing. Let it go. Let go of these feelings that you have to do, you know, all of this extra work to be seen, or let go of this idea that you have to put in all this extra effort in order to be perceived as enough. Let's see. What does the universe want to tell you? Four of Wands, celebrate your life, celebrate who you are, celebrate what you bring to the table, and recognize that, you know, it's more than enough for you, and anyone who doesn't necessarily see that value, you know, is probably someone that you shouldn't connect with, right? Let's see, what are some blocks? Two of Wands, making a decision, getting a sense for, you know, what direction you need to go in, who you maybe need to trust, just trusting more in yourself, and not getting, you know, torn in, like, you know, do I go left or right, sort of a situation. Just trusting that you know where you need to go. All right. Let's see, hopes and fears. Two of Cups, another 2 card. You know, maybe you're feeling like you're worried about the other person or other people not bringing their fair share to the table, right? And so perhaps you're feeling like you have to do all this extra work because you're worried about what the other person, if it's a love situation, or what other people are bringing to the table. And so you're sort of overcompensating for that. And let's see, what was the other? Oh, let's do outcome. All right, so we have King of Wands, taking some inspired energy, Queen of Pentacles, getting grounded, Knight of Pentacles, taking your time, and Four of Cups. What is this Four of Cups about? Oh, just sort of like getting over it. That's where my attention went. If you can see on her shirt, it says over it. So just sort of getting over these feelings or thoughts that, you know, that you have to bring this extra cup to the table. And let's see, what are you not seeing? What's happening under the deck? All right, we have the Lover's card, Three of Pentacles, and Chariot. All right. So the thing that you're not seeing is that you really need to get into balance. You need to find that inner harmony. And once you're able to do that, then you're able to understand how to work with others, working with others in a more balanced way. And so when I think about Three of Pentacles, it's like, it's not just about you or the other person, it's about what you both bring individually, and then how that creates a third set of energies, right? But that can't happen until you get into balance. And it's like once you find that, once you understand that, then you're able to move forward with the Chariot card here, and move forward pretty quickly. And so if it's a situation where it's a relationship, it's like once you understand that, you know, you bring your own part, they bring their own part, and then you're sort of building something together, then you're able to move forward in the relationship. If it's a situation where it's related to like work or family, it's like you need to find that inner balance first, and then figure out how to work with all the people around you, and that will help to move things forward, whether it be healing some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like healing something that has been sort of building up over time, or just being able to find some harmony within your relationships, right? Because ideally we want to have relationships that are balanced. We want to have relationships that, you know, contribute something, and having it be a situation where you're not the one who's always contributing, you know, it being a situation where they are also contributing, so that, you know, you don't have to be in this energy anymore, right? But it looks like once you understand that this is the thing that you need to let go, then you're able to move forward in a really, really nice energy. So with the King of Wands, you know, you're able to move forward with your vision, whether it be your vision for your life or your vision for your relationship, and do so from a place that's really, really grounded with this Queen of Pentacles energy. And I think I like this really balanced energy here of, like, you know, you're moving forward, but you're moving forward from a more wholesome place. You're moving forward from a place that is really connected to your inner being, versus moving forward from a place where you feel like you have to, because of, you know, whatever thoughts you may have about your self-worth. Okay? And then, you know, taking your time. Taking your time in moving forward, because, you know, it takes a lot of energy and sometimes time to be in a position where you are reassured, where you feel secure, right? And so recognizing that even though you may make the decision to let go of that right now, you know, you're going to have to do some rewiring of the brain, and that's going to take some time. So just be patient with yourself as you go along. And, you know, just sort of getting over this feeling of, like, having to bring more to the table than what the other person is bringing, right? Just sort of finding a way to get over that energy. I think it's interesting, like, you know, we have the Three of Cups here, and then before I mentioned the Three of Pentacles, it's like, once you're able to understand that you're creating something new, you don't necessarily feel this need to bringing this extra energy to sort of make up for it. All right, interesting. Let's see, what do I want to do next? Okay. So let's get a sense for what is it that would be helpful for you in terms of releasing. So I have my surrender deck here, and let's just get a sense for what is it that needs to be released during this full moon in Sagittarius. I'm always tickled when, you know, I do these readings, because, you know, I sort of start out with an idea and then the cards come out that support the idea. I guess it's not really an idea, but, you know, what I'm feeling. And so I'm always tickled when, you know, the cards are like, yes, you're on the right track in terms of what you're tapping into. And, you know, who doesn't like having that reassurance, right? Okay, so what do you need to release during this full moon? All right, that's enough. All right, this card wants to come out. What is this? Surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. I feel like I might have mentioned this maybe once or twice in this reading, right? Whatever you thought before about what it is that you bring and your worth, like, you have to let go of that. Let it go, you know, release it, say thank you, but no thank you, and move on. So I'm just going to read what it says here. Let go of limiting ideas about yourself that originate from the past. Then you can own your power and soar in your life. And that makes me think about this strength card, right? So it's like you have the ability to be in your power, but you have to let go of these outdated beliefs first. Like, the power is already within you. You just have to see it. And right now it's hard for you to see it because of these beliefs that you have about yourself. These beliefs that around you being enough. All right, what else? Excuse me. Surrender to divine timing. Let's see. Sometimes divine timing may differ from your ego's timing. If a goal isn't manifesting fast enough, according to your ego, be patient and trust the universal flow. So what was I saying before about taking your time? Like, just, recognizing that once you make that conscientious decision to let go of that outdated belief, being patient with yourself, and the universe will reward you for will reward you in due time for releasing that belief. But it just may take a little bit of time, right? Surrender to effortlessness. I feel like this is very, very much what I've been saying throughout this reading, going back to this 10 of Wands of what you need to let go of. Surrender to effortlessness. Stop pushing so hard. The art of living means going with the flow instead of trying to force the river. So go with the flow, okay? Just sort of allow things to be. Bring whatever you bring and let that be it. Don't feel like you have to overdo it. Don't feel like you have to prove yourself in any way. Like, allow, the other person to prove themselves, or allow spirit to, do some work on your behalf. But don't feel like you have to push so hard, okay? Surrender defensiveness. Defensiveness is a sign of weakness. To communicate in a more empowered way, stay centered and hear someone out. Then offer a clear, non-defensive response. What I'm getting from that is not so much being defensive in the sense that you, going back to what I was saying before about having to prove yourself, it's like you're automatically on the defense when you have this energy of like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. And it's like, relax. You don't. You don't. So making sure that you're not behaving from a place of offensiveness. Like, you may be worried about how other people are perceiving the work that you're contributing. And what Spirit is trying to say, look, don't worry about that so much. Just be you, do what you do best, and allow everything else to fall into place. All right, let me get one more card. All right. Surrender to awe and wonder. Sorry, to wonder and awe. I did that in reverse. Be open to the magic of every moment and sense the awe and wonder in all of life. Excuse me. This attitude will keep you connected to the ecstasy of flow. And, this sort of reminds me of the strength card of like, surrender to the awe and wonder within you, right? Because you have something great to contribute. Thank you. I'm glad this is resonating. You have something great to contribute, yet you're, caught up in this energy of like, I have to do, and you don't. It's like the awe and wonder is within you, right? And so the moment you recognize that, the moment you're able to get into that energy of flow. All right. Let's see. I'm going to pull from one more deck. And then anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer some questions on here. So start thinking of it if you do have something that you want to ask. And then just put it in the comments. Like I was saying before, like I love when, you have these reaffirming moments. I talked about, getting rid of old beliefs. I talked about, you know, not doing so much, and, you know, those are the things that came out in terms of what needs to be, what you need to surrender, right? So that's fun. All right, one more shuffle. I just heard like you are the wonder and awe again. So if you didn't know that, you are. All right, let's see. Does anything want to jump out? If not, I'll just pull one from the top and one from the bottom. All right, so we have one question. Any cosmic guidance for letting a relationship go? All right. I will pull some cards around that. All right, so we have 3 cards that flipped over. So the first one is, let me be still today and listen to the truth in silence. So what was I was saying before about not doing so much? You know, just be still and just listen, you know, operating from that inner security, operating from that inner guidance. My friendships support me, nourish me, and inspire me. And so just trusting that the people around you are there to support you. And, you know, it's not your job to always have to do for them. You know, sometimes they can do for you. And then the last card, there's no such thing as a mistake. Everything happens in divine order. I am being guided to learn and grow. So if you are listening to this reading, this is not a mistake. You know, this is a guided reading that, you know, Spirit wants to share with you. And so, you know, using this as an opportunity to learn and grow so that you can move past some of the challenges that you've been feeling. Okay? All right, so let me see. I have been ruminating on an ex in a new relationship. I believe he is in, and I don't like being in this headspace. Yeah, that could be tough. Absolutely. That could be very tough. All right, so let's see what the Spirit have to say about that. So I'm going to do a couple of the tarot cards, and then I'll do some of the surrender cards. Yeah, letting go of a relationship is always tough, right? And it could be any kind of relationship. And then just like seeing, you know, the changes in the person or the situation after you leave, and then just sort of questioning, like, you know, what could I have done differently, or you know, just sort of questioning whether or not it was you that that was the problem. I don't know if that's what you may be feeling, but that's sort of what came up for me as I think about your question. All right, letting go of the relationship. And do one more. All right, guidance on letting go of this relationship. Okay, so we got a couple cards that jumped out. We got the King of Pentacles, Tower, 8 of Cups, Strength card came out again, and 8 of Pentacles. All right, so the first thing that jumps out to me, wow, interesting. So you have 3 8s that came out back to back, right? So you have the 8 of Cups, the Strength card, which is an 8, and then the 8 of Cups. And 8s are all about that upward progression, right? So like with 4 is related to like creating a foundation, and then 8 is sort of building upon that foundation. And what I'm getting is that, so we also have the Tower and the King of Pentacles. Well, one, just finding that inner security recognizing that you have a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of really great qualities that maybe you just sort of need to be reminded of so that you can be grounded again, and finding that security. And I'll, pull some cards to get some more clarity on this. But what I'm getting is that, like, you have this, like with the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is within like the minor arcana suite. Suit. The King of Pentacles is the most mature. Like, the King of Pentacles has gained the most, right? And so what I'm getting is that, you have gained a lot, and you may have gained a lot because of this relationship sort of falling apart. And so really tapping into, like, what have you learned from this relationship that can help you, and not necessarily seeing it as a loss, more so seeing it as an opportunity to, leave some things behind that just haven't been serving you, that haven't been helping you. But I think the key to that is, tapping into your inner strength, tapping into, who you are at your core, and recognizing that, who that person was may not have been connected to your values, right? And so, and this is sort of what's coming to me. I don't know if this is the case, but like, I'm sort of feeling like, perhaps there was a difference in values, or perhaps there was a difference in like how you viewed life. And you have to understand that, how you think or feel is how you think or feel, and that's okay. It's not about, I'm getting like this person maybe was not forceful, but maybe they had sort of a strong personality and had their own thoughts on how life should be, and perhaps that differed from how you thought life should be. And what I'm getting from Spirit is that you have to understand that you, like, what you feel is solid, what you feel is right, although I don't like to use the word right, but however, whatever it is that sort of drew you apart, you sort of have to lean on that as your guidance, because this relationship ended for a reason. And so finding that inner lesson and recognizing that, all right, this is what I needed to learn from this relationship, and now you can move on from it. All right. And it might have felt like you put a lot of effort into it, but understand that that effort was really about your growth. Going back to what I was saying before about the 8s, right? That upward progression. And I feel that, there has been a growth spurt from this relationship, but you maybe haven't seen it yet. And so it's like, once you understand that, once you see that, then you're able to say, oh, this relationship was for this reason, and now I can move on. And, regardless of what, the other person is doing. And so you really got to, go within and get a sense for, what has this relationship taught me? And then once you understand that lesson, then you're able to move forward from a higher place, from a more grounded place. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Let's see. I just need to surrender. If not, please let me know. I'm happy to clarify. Surrender frustration. So any frustration you may have had around this relationship, and maybe how things ended, or how how you were treated in the relationship, sort of surrendering that frustration. And I'll read to you what it says. Frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so that you may approach the situation more calmly. So yeah, going back to what I was saying before about like getting grounded in your own thoughts, in your own feelings, and finding what you feel is the right thing, or finding what you felt in terms of what was the right thing to do in this relationship. Surrender to the magic of who you are. I like this. I've never gotten this card before, so this is definitely for you. Surrender to the magic of who you are. We all have magic in us, even in the mundane aspects of life. Remember that you are a magical being with a uniqueness and worth that come from just being you. And I feel like this goes back to that King of Pentacles energy. It's like you have these values, I keep going back to values, I don't know why, but that's sort of what, I think about pentacles and money and value. Like you have these values that are near and dear to you, and they are really great values to have, and perhaps this other person didn't necessarily match those values, but that doesn't mean that you weren't good enough. It just means that your energies just didn't connect. And so once you recognize that what you have within you is more than enough, and it's just a matter of recognizing that and then finding a person who is more connected to that energy of the things that you value, then you'll be in a much better space. So surrender to the magic of who you are. I really like that. All right, let me do one more. This card. Interesting. Surrender your fear of intimacy. You are ready to let love in. Compassionately identify and begin to release any patterns that stop you from opening your heart. So, however things may have transpired within this relationship, don't let that be the end all be all. And so really using this full moon as an opportunity to release those fears you may have around intimacy. And it may be a situation where you've sort of been going through the same pattern of relationships, right? And if that's the case, maybe that's the lesson that you need to learn. Maybe that's the thing that will help you to understand, like, this is what I needed to learn from this, and then you'll be in a much better space to move forward. Like, I'm sort of was reminded of like my own situation where I, kept dating the same type of person, but I didn't necessarily realize that I was dating the same type of person. These like temperamental type personalities. And I remember one day, I said to my best friend, why are, these type of people attracted to me? And then he flipped it around and said, well, no, why are you attracted to those types of personalities? And I had never even considered that. And that's when I was able to realize that there was a pattern, right? I was dating the same type of person in different forms, but was sort of stuck in that energy that I needed to learn. And so now that I've learned that, I've made better decisions and I'm able to recognize, certain red flags that just are not conducive to what it is that I feel. So that's something that I would encourage you to do. Just sort of look at any patterns and see what can be released so that you can let intimacy in again. Okay? Is that helpful? I hope so. I'll do one of these. I like these like affirmation cards. Which one is this? This is the Spirit Junkie deck. Alright, I'll do this card on top. The greatest experience of freedom comes when I let go of what others think of me. So if you've been sort of caught up in, let's say if the relationship didn't end well, and this person had some, excuse me, my phone's ringing, and this person maybe said some things about who you are or what it is that, you know, you did wrong in the relationship. Let that go. Like, it's not about what you did. Whatever it was that you did was specific to that person, so don't let that be what guides you going forward. And you know, once you're able to let that go, then I feel like you'll be in a much better position to move on from the feelings that you may be having about the relationship. But, you know, again, just try not to worry so much about how he perceives you or how other people perceive you now that the relationship isn't together anymore, because at the end of the day, you know, you're about doing what's best for you. You're about that upward progression. And so as long as you continue to do so, that's all that matters. Okay? Whew, that was really good. I like how all of these messages came together. So thank you so much for asking that question. Again, I hope that it was helpful. All right. So that concludes today's live. Thank you so much for watching this. I truly appreciate it. Again, if you want to participate in the full moon Reiki release, you can check the link in my bio, as well as the post that I put up yesterday, the little short, like 30-second video. So check that out. I will be taking submissions until noon my time tomorrow. So if you're on Eastern, oh good, I'm glad it was helpful. If you're on Eastern time, that will be 3 p.m. Just so that, you know, I can use the most potent energy of the full moon, because it'll be the most potent tomorrow. Although the energies will continue to be felt for a few days after. So yeah. All right, so thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day. All right, see ya.